You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. The foundation of any democratic society lies in the rule of law. A framework of principles designed to protect individuals from arbitrary governance and safeguard their fundamental rights. Among these principles is a crucial safeguard enshrined in the United States Constitution, and that is the prohibition of ex post facto laws. Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution states clearly and unequivocally that no ex post facto law shall be passed. But what does that mean? And why is it so critical to the protection of every citizen in this country? The Latin phrase ex post facto translates to from a thing done afterward. In legal terms, it refers to laws that retroactively alter the legal consequences of actions that were committed before the enactment of the law. These could criminalize actions that were once legal, increase penalties for actions already committed, or alter legal procedures in ways that disadvantage the accused after the fact. The Constitution's framers in their unmatched foresight recognized the dangers of such laws. They understood how easily unchecked power could be abused. How laws could be weaponized to target individuals or groups, to rewrite history and manipulate justice. This is why the prohibition against ex post facto laws was established, to prevent malicious officials or institutions from imposing retroactive criminality or punishment, and to ensure utmost fairness in legal proceedings. But today, this principle seems to be under attack. In 2013, Illinois passed a law removing the statute of limitations for certain sexual offenses. Prior to this amendment, survivors of these crimes were required to file charges within a specific time frame. Once the statute of limitations expired, those accused could not be prosecuted or sued. Essentially, a legal clock had run out. But with the 2013 change, that clock was effectively dismantled for new cases going forward. The issue arises when courts attempt to retroactively apply this amendment to allegations predating the law's enactment. This has become a central point of contention in cases like that against R. Kelly. The Chicago appellate judges have argued that the removal of the statute of limitations is not an ex post facto violation because the accusers were still within their filing period when the change took effect. By this logic, the courts claim that the accused could not have relied on the expiration of the statute of limitations as a defense. But this reasoning is fundamentally flawed, and here's why. It is important to note that the proper interpretation of ex post facto laws is rooted in the date of the alleged offense. When determining whether a law violates this principle, courts must consider whether the legal framework at the time of the alleged conduct is being retroactively altered to the disadvantage of the accused. The computation from accusers' deadlines or filing cases period is a wrong way to look at the matter. If the said crimes were allegedly committed when a statute of limitations was in place, any subsequent change to that limitation is retroactive and therefore violates Article 1 Clause 9 of our Constitution. The law at the time of the alleged act is what governs, not laws created or amendments made afterward. To suggest otherwise is to rewrite the very foundation of ex post facto protections. This is not merely a technicality but a hallmark of justice. The framers of the Constitution had the foresight to understand how dangerous it would be to allow retroactive application of laws. They knew that governments might be tempted to rewrite the rules in their favor, imposing penalties or creating liabilities after the fact. Take a hypothetical example. Imagine a government introduces a tax law that retroactively applies to transactions conducted years earlier. Businesses which had operated legally under the old rules could suddenly face crippling penalties or liabilities, destroying livelihoods and eroding trust in the legal system. The same principle applies here. If the statute of limitations at the time of an alleged offense barred prosecution or litigation after a certain date, that limitation must be respected. What we are witnessing in the case of R. Kelly is a dangerous precedent being set. A reinterpretation of constitutional protections in ways that could affect every single person in this nation. This matter is not about whether R. Kelly is guilty or innocent. It is about whether the judicial system is adhering to the principles of fairness and legality that it is sworn to uphold. Legal experts have in fact repeatedly emphasized that statutes of limitations are not random deadlines but instead they exist to protect due process. Over time memories fade, evidence is lost, and witnesses become unavailable. The longer the delay in pursuing a case, the greater the risk that the accused cannot mount an adequate defense. This is precisely why these limitations were created. To ensure that justice is not only done but is seen to be done timely and fairly. By allowing the retroactive removal of the statute of limitations, the courts are opening a Pandora's box. If this principle is allowed to stand, what is to stop the government from retroactively applying other laws? What is to stop them from targeting individuals or companies' old deeds based on the newly created legal frameworks? What is stopping government from holding them accountable for actions taken years or decades earlier under entirely different legal standards? After all, most of the new issues had no statutes of limitations at all. What's stopping them? This is not a question of supporting one individual or one case. It is a question of defending the Constitution, which is a document that protects us all from government legal malpractice of this nature. The framers of our Constitution knew that the principles they enshrined would be tested, and here we are today witnessing the same. They knew there would be moments when emotions ran high, when public opinion demanded action, and when it would be tempting for government to bend the rules with impunity. But they also knew that justice must never be subject to the unprecedented whims of the moment. This is why the law must remain steadfast, impartial, and unwavering in its adherence to the principles of fairness. As we continue to examine the case against R. Kelly and the judicial decisions surrounding it, let us remember that this is bigger than a one-man show, one case, or one moment in time. This is about protecting the very foundations of justice in America. If we allow the erosion of constitutional protections here, we risk losing them completely altogether. Let us therefore stand firm in our commitment to the rule of law, to the principles of fairness, and to the enduring wisdom of our Constitution. Because defending these principles today ensures that they will still be there to protect us tomorrow. If you want to be featured in our video releases, send us your clips by emailing them to hnnewsroom242@gmail.com or use Google Drive for larger files. Be sure to include your name and any details you'd like us to know. We can't wait to showcase your contributions. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.